Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the 55th episode of the Perpetual Protocol Community Call. Really great to see you all, and it has been a while, so really great to be back in the saddle and with my best ever wingman, Houston. How you doing, Houston?
I am doing great. Always happy to support your support the call and be on the call with you, Lee. So happy to be here.
Okay, much appreciated, much appreciated, and especially happy to have you back because Houston was actually off for summer holidays, and yeah, it was sounds like a really great holiday, but of course we missed him the whole time. So tell us about that, Houston. How was your holiday?
Yeah, I had some nice R&R. Took a couple weeks off and touched some proverbial grass. But actually went over to Portugal for a couple weeks and enjoyed the fine food, the fine attractions, and yeah, the fine beverages, some of the libations that they have over in Portugal. Probably imbibed on too many of those, but it was definitely a nice trip and had a chance to relax.
All that fancy European water.
Yes, that's it. Water. That's right.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm still looking forward to my summer holidays. It's going to be next month, so yeah, looking forward to that. But I don't think it'll interrupt the community call. Hopefully, I'll be able to continue on. But we will see. We will see. So everyone, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, see if Lee dials in
But
from his remote destination.
yeah, we'll see. I probably will.
Okay.
Probably will. Don't want to miss it.
Nice.
But yeah, this the sort of month that we've been off the call, it hasn't been like there's been some news, but nothing like too earth-shattering. I guess one of the bigger piece of news, which actually connects to optimism in a sort of indirect way, is the WorldCoin launch. I don't know if everybody's been watching that or getting excited or terrified. I don't know which one is more appropriate.
That's right. Yeah, the WorldCoin launch happened, was it yesterday? They launched their token. I know the project has been kind of in beta for a while now, but the token launched, was it Monday or yesterday? I think it's Monday, right? Time flies. Yeah,
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
So it's already been a couple of days. I don't know what it's trading at right now. Let's take a quick peek here. I think it got as high as like two something, right? I'm just gonna take a quick look. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. No idea.
Yeah, so it's back to $2 and 30 cents per coin. So that's on the upper end, because it went as low as a buck 90. So yeah, they're back up there again. So there are some buyers of this token.
Interesting. Well, all the people who farmed the airdrop by buying accounts must be fairly pleased with their, what is it, 25 token airdrop or something?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You get that's right. It's so funny, right? Because if you scan your irises, I think it was an IOU, right? IOU, right, for 25 tokens. So you get your $50 in exchange for your irises.
I heard you could buy an account for a few dollars.
Really?
So apparently, I don't know if it's a real. Like, how do you even know if what you're buying is legit? Like, you bought the thing and then you wait for the airdrop, and it's not even the real thing. Anyway,
Well, funny enough, I did see the WorldCoin crew in Portugal while I was there. So as I was traveling in Lisbon, I was at one of the major train stations or metro stations, and they had a pretty decent size stand there where they had a number of WorldCoin staff trying to incentivize people to scan their irises. So it's the first time I had seen a WorldCoin stand, and I didn't even realize they were actually. This is like last week. This is when I saw them. So I was still I was in Lisbon last week, and I always thought that they were still in beta and they were still just collecting eyeballs in the global south, but apparently they were now rolling this out in two major cities across Europe. So yeah, I saw the crew. They tried to convince me to scan my eyeballs. I did not agree to that. I'm a little bit against this whole idea. Yeah, I'm kind of more into the freedom tech myself, and this to me seems a bit towards a dystopian vision that I'm not really in favor of, to put it politely. So yeah, I declined politely.
yeah, it's definitely not my jam either. I wouldn't do it for. I mean, I guess there's always some amount of money you might do it for, but 25 whatever tokens, no thanks.
Yeah, To permanently have your
Not
eyeballs
fun.
or the hash of your irises on chain, yeah, it's a, I don't know, it's like picking up pennies in front of a, of a train, right? So it just doesn't seem like a good trade off. But I did ask if they would scan my son's eyeballs. I was gonna throw him under the bus, but I was just gonna say,
What a great father.
but I was just kind of kidding because I've been pretty sure my son is 11 years old, and I was pretty sure they were not gonna scan his irises. But I just kind of, I wanted to see what they were gonna say, and they said no, we can't scan people who are under 18. So yeah, so I guess they do have some guidelines or some standards. You have to be.
Well, they're at least fairly. They got some integrity,
Yeah,
somewhat.
exactly. They can't KYC, but they can, I guess, like, tell by looking at you if you're above 18 or not. Um, but yeah, that's definitely. I'm not in support of of getting my iris scanned, but apparently I was
In
talking
some
to them
cases,
further, and yeah, they're getting about 60 to 100 people scanning their eyes every day in that train station. So they are getting some folks who are curious enough to, yeah, to sign away the digital identity online.
yeah, interesting. But just going back to the underage thing, that sort of surprises me because the famous photo, at least for me, is the one with like Sam Altman holding the orb with some like African kid. So just seeing that photo, I'm like, oh well, they're just scanning a bunch of kids. But then they say they won't scan anyone under 18. So now I'm wondering, like, okay, what's up with that photo?
Yeah, yeah, you gotta. Yeah, I don't want to get too cynical about it. But it's probably a photo op of some sort, holding a kid. But yeah, but I think all in all, like, I think we're moving toward this world where it makes sense that we need to have some sort of digital identity system that will prevent obviously AIs from running amok and being able just to spawn, an endless amount of Sybil accounts. But just the optics around this project have never been good, right? So maybe they're not the right crew to do it, right? It's the guy who owns OpenAI and tries to also launch this thing. Just the optics and around having these orbs, it's just not. I don't know. I think somehow they've missed the mark, and the tokenomics obviously are terrible for most people. So yeah, I just don't. I don't think they really cross their T's and dot their I's properly in this one.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Yeah, the orb thing is super weird. Like, I mean, that's instant sort of bizarre meme factor.
Yeah.
There. Like, it's just, which I mean, I guess being a meme means you're probably gonna spread your idea pretty far. But
Right.
what flavor? How is that idea gonna be tinted? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be pretty legit. But yeah, just based on the tokenomics, doesn't seem that great. But in
Yeah.
terms of like having an AI company and then sort of the AI antidote, I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? Like, if you're going to invent a virus, then obviously you want the vaccine as well. So you can have both.
Yeah, that's scary, right? When you have the vaccine maker also being the virus maker, that's it's a little scary. So yeah, a little bit of mixed incentives there. But I'm curious to, folks in the chat, we have quite a few viewers turning out today. So what do you guys think? Are you guys pro WorldCoin or against WorldCoin, or basically indifferent, or something else? Let us know in the chat. I'm very curious. I think Lee and I are pretty. You can kind of guess where we land on this question, but I'm curious to hear from the chat where you guys fall on that.
Yeah, definitely let us know. And but speaking of AI, I heard just recently that Netflix apparently is hiring now for some AI positions like
Mm.
AI product manager or something at a pretty high salary. Something it's definitely in the mid to high six figures. So if you're like an AI prompt engineer, this might be your chance. I don't know if that's in direct response to the actor and writer strikes. I think it's definitely a bit of a creepy time to be in a number of different industries, including acting and script writing. Like, who knows what directions that is going to go in the end.
Yeah. Do you think it's for prompt engineering? Or you think it's more for like fine tuning their algos around recommendations? What do you think it is?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's a pretty recent piece of news. I didn't actually look at the job posting,
Yeah.
but it's on Twitter if people want to go and check that out and apply. I'm sure they'll get a lot of applicants based on the compensation is pretty handsome.
Yeah.
You might have to move somewhere, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's actually interesting. In the perp team actually was discussing today. Like a few people were discussing this afternoon. Like, would you care if you're watching a TV show made by AI? Like, if you can tell, if you couldn't tell it's made by AI, like, do you really care if it's made by AI? I don't know. What do you think?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. Man, that's a deep one. I probably would not care. Definitely would not care if it was animated. So if it's an animated show, I really wouldn't care if it was written by AI because or and the voice actors are AI as well. I don't because there's no connection anyways to the actor or to the writing. So yeah, I think definitely for animated things, no problem with that. Actual real acting there, that's a good one. I'm not. I guess I've never thought about it before. I guess I'd be okay with it on first yeah. My first thought, I think I'd be okay with it. Where do you fall on that one?
Mm. Yeah, I'm sort of still in the wait and see camp. Like, I honestly expect it to be pretty interesting. Like, if you just look at, for example, things coming out of Midjourney and that kind of
Yeah,
technology, uh, some of it is pretty insanely creative.
yeah,
I mean, obviously there's like a human behind the prompt. So, I think the combination of like the creativity of the prompt and what it can generate sort of in a semi-random way, like there's some pretty interesting things that like haven't been thought of really. And things that you can do that would just take forever, being done by other means,
mm-hmm.
especially like if it's on um, like you're saying, the animation front, or like just the detail it can add in terms of world building. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. And I would say also it's not going to totally take humans out of the equation.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of like, it's not going to be able to just spit out a movie in whole form, right away. Maybe
yeah,
one day it will, but like it's going to take a lot of human input to get it into a form that humans will want to actually consume as a piece of entertainment.
that's it.
So, and I'm pretty curious to see what comes of it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely because it feels like the last remaining barrier is that ability to create emotional connection to a character, right? But if AI can somehow create some sort of character that actually causes a human being to actually have an emotional connection, then yeah, I could see a world where you don't need to have so many actors. um, yeah, if they can just spawn them and they look really photorealistic, then yeah, that would be a very that'd be a very I think it'd be game changing. So yeah,
True. But yeah, at the same time, it could be that there'll be like a premium on real acting. Like maybe theater will come back and be like, oh, you can go and see like real
real
humans
people.
on stage. It'll be,
What are those people
yeah,
doing? Yeah, that's funny. But somewhat related,
yeah,
I've always been a big fan of the show called BattleBots, where you watch robots kind of duke it out in a big kind of mash 'em smash 'em
yeah.
kind of style. And those robots, even when you watch them, they feel like they have a personality. Even though they're being controlled by humans, and they're just robots. So I think I could see a world where I'm not a huge sports fan. For some reason, I'd actually rather watch some of these robots fight than watch football. so so yeah, I don't have a maybe I'm one of those cohorts that don't really have an attachment to human beings.
Well, you heard it. That's good to know in advance. Yeah, Houston has no attachment to human beings.
Exactly. I'm
So yeah.
signaling that to our future robot overlords so that they know I'll be very compliant.
Uh, it's good you're hedging your bets. You're a
That's
you're a
it.
true trader at heart.
You know me too well.
Uh, well, speaking of hedging bets, I was just also thinking today, like, because we on Perp we have like a bunch of different tokens, and we're always discussing like, should we, what's the future of like all the different tokens we have on our platform?
That's
Are
it.
they going to survive the bull market or survive until the next bull market? You just never know. Especially like L1s, people, real ETH maxis are always saying like, all these other L1s are just it's just not gonna work because all the liquidity is in ETH, and all the development is in ETH. But like, is that really true? And yeah, I don't know what you think about that, Houston.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just listening to a podcast, Laura Shin's podcast. It's called Unchained. This past week, and they had Chris Berninsky and Joel Montenegro. Joel, for those folks who don't know, he's the guy who wrote the Fat Protocol thesis. I definitely Google that paper if you haven't read it before. It's a pretty short. It's a good article. It's not that long, but his idea was always, and he wrote this about 7 years ago, so this is actually not a new idea. But his thesis at the time, Fat Protocol thesis, was that all the value would eventually, like, we're talking about blockchains, the majority of the value. This is his thesis, is that most of the value that gets created would eventually aggregate at the protocol level or at the chain level. So, let's say you're, talking about ETH, most of that value that gets created would then accumulate to ETH versus the apps that get spawned on that chain, like the Uniswaps and the Aves and the, on the games and so forth, because obviously the chain is the one that collects, all the fees for all the transactions. So ultimately the big winner, and there'll be times, of course, where the apps could outperform the chain, but in the long run, his thesis was always that the actual chain itself would be the winner. So it seems to have played out pretty well. I think as we see now, like the most of the chains seem to be outperforming the apps. There are some certain times where some of the apps, they obviously they do outperform, but for the most part, when people invest, quote unquote invest, it's mostly on the chains. The weird thing is that there are so many chains nowadays, is that there probably isn't going to be a world. Well, these guys did say they see a world in the future where there's going to be millions of chains. So they think there's going to be things like game chains. There's going to be jurisdictional chains based on like arbitrage. There'll be all kinds of different chains. Private chains, yada yada. So there could be hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of chains out there. But they made a comment. They think that, these guys are pretty bullish on Solana. So that was one that has been kind of left for dead, and they were pretty bullish on that one. And for the main reasons that they think that a lot of the quote unquote grift has sort of been taken out of those chains, out of Solana specifically. The SAM involvement, and of course there are a number of pretty shady projects that did blow up, that where people did get rug pulled. So Solana seems to be up today. It's up like close to 7%. So I don't know what the news is today, but I think that's a chain worth watching in the long run. It looks like a lot of VCs are not giving up on that particular chain.
Not investment advice, by the way.
Yes, exactly. DYOR.
You missed the pump. Don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly. But but I guess Solana, that would be a good one for us to do today for our price contest.
Oh, nice.
So why don't we do that? So let's do that. So why don't we talk about the price contest, and then we'll launch into our usual updates. So it's been a little while. So if this is your first time tuning into one of these calls, we always do a little contest, a little trading contest. Pretty straightforward. The person who guesses the price of our chosen token, our token of choice, and gets the closest prediction at the end of the call, will win some perp. So I'm going to pull up Solana here on our exchange. So let me just share my screen here. So let's share our DEX page. So there we go. Let me know when you see that coming up here. So we got Doge on the screen right now. So I'll pull up Solana. So yeah, it looks like Solana's up a cool 5.5%. This is on the hourly. This is the daily. Just see the hourly chart here. So it's been pumping. It's been pumping. Not financial advice. You may not want to buy it right now, but let's do this. So let's do the game on Solana today. So the person who most closely guesses the price of Solana by the end of today's call will win some perp. So right now, Solana's trading at 24.478. We're looking at the mark price here on perp. So the person who most closely guesses the final price by the time we call the end of the contest will win some perp. So make sure you use 3 decimals. So the person who gets closest to the end price will win that perp, and we'll let you know when the contest ends, usually by the end of this call. So did I miss any details around the contest, Lee? Yeah, so make sure you can type it now to the chat pod, and we will only take your first entry. So don't keep punching in new guesses. We'll only take the your first entry. So think carefully. We'll give you like 4 more minutes to type, actually maybe 2 more minutes to type in your entry, and then yeah, the closest person will win some perp. Yes, one guess per person. If you do more than one guess, we'll just take your first guess. And
so make that first guess count.
yes.
But take your time. We'll give you maybe until 25 past the hour, so another 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right, that's fair. The funny thing is that the last two contests we ran this, I can't remember who it was in our community, but the last two contests have been won by the same person. So there's one person out there on the call. If you're here on the call, let us say hello. But that person has a knack for price predictions. So if you're here, raise your hand and follow that person's guess, because I'm betting on you again. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, like to the like close to the tick sometimes. So pretty impressive. All right, so we'll get started. Again, the price right now $24,479, and we're looking at the mark price on Perp. Okay, that'll be our final final number. Feel free to use 3 decimals if you really want to get accurate. Good luck, everyone.
Right.
All right, so we'll share out our screen here again.
Sounds good. Maybe I'll start off with the first one.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
All right. I don't know if this is really like a Western practice, but definitely in Asia, if you go to a hot spring, you have to have a shower first. Like, it's really rude to just get in the hot tub or the hot spring without having a shower. So since we have a hot tub already and we weren't providing a shower room, we thought, okay, this isn't good. So we came up with the idea of having a shower room. You put your money in the shower room first, and then it gets prepared, and then when it's ready, it goes into the hot tub. So the idea, basically, it's like a waiting room. So for some hot tub vaults that are full, like the ETH hot tub, if you want to deposit in the ETH hot tub, you can put your money in the shower room first, and then as soon as there's room in the hot tub, your money will automatically be moved to the hot tub for you. And as a bonus, while you're in the shower room, you will be earning yield from Yearn. So your funds will be deposited on Yearn to earn. Like, it's not a huge yield, but it's better than just zero. So definitely check that out, especially if you've been waiting to deposit in one of the ETH vaults. They've been full for basically the entire time. So this is your chance to get in there without having to catch the increase in the cap just at the right moment, or catch when somebody withdraws from the vault. So yeah, check it out. Shower room is live. It's live on all the vaults, but you'll only see it on a vault if it's full. So if you don't see the shower room on a vault, it means it's not full. You can deposit right away.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just quickly show that page so you can see what it looks like when it's live. So I'll just quickly share that page there. And for whatever reason, there we go. I'm just going to share that hot tub vault page. So yeah, so when you go to the vaults page, so if we go to vaults.perp.com, when you head to that vaults page, and as Lee mentioned, that the shower room only really shows up when the vault is either full or gets close to being full. And so our ETH vault here is very close to being full. So you can see here it's got 99.58%. And then when when it is full, then you'll be able to click on the prompt. There'll be a little option there to click on, and that's when you can basically pre-deposit and enter that shower room, earn some cool yield while you wait for the hot tub yield. So yeah, once there's a space, as Lee mentioned, it'll just queue you in line, and you'll automatically be deposited when there's space. Now this means we got rid of our whitelist, I guess, process, and that hopefully that makes your life a lot easier when you want to get into these vaults. Do you know what the cap is, Lee, for the deposits? Is there a cap on how much you can put into shower room at any given time?
I don't think there's a cap, but there's definitely an upper limit on the amount that is deposited. So you can deposit, I think you can deposit as much as you like, but only 10,000 USDC will be deposited at a time, and a rough equivalent for the other assets.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
All right, good to know. Good to know.
So okay, so that's a good point to raise, which is if you deposit more than 10,000 USDC equivalent, uh, it will be deposited in 10,000. Uh, what's the word? Increments. Yeah. So 10,000 will be deposited at a time. After your first deposit of 10,000, you go down the queue, and you'll be back in the waiting list. So there is a waiting list for this. So if you want to get into one of these vaults, we recommend doing it ASAP so that you're at the top of the queue. And I believe if you click on it, you can see the queue. There's one person in the queue so far, and you could join the queue.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, it gives you an estimate of the APR you'll earn while you're in the queue. So being in the queue is not so bad. In fact, this might be one of the better queues to queue in. Instead of just waiting, you will be earning at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. I like how it
Alrighty.
notifies you too when your queue status changes. So that's nice. Instead of having to sit there and watch the website all day, yeah. If you want to get into some of these more popular vaults, then yeah, this is a nice option.
Yep, definitely. I'm a fan of this one. I hate missing that increase in the cap or missing when someone withdraws.
Yeah, yeah. I was on vacation while
Yeah.
this thing launched, so this is the first time I'm seeing the UI, and even though I know the features, I do like I do like how it's been rolled out. So yeah, really pleased to see how it turned out.
Yeah,
Nice.
design team did a great job with this, so props to them.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, and do you want to just go back to the vault page? Oh, okay. Anyway,
Back to the vaults page.
people may have
Yeah, we can
noticed
do
that one of the vaults has actually negative APR right now. So if you're wondering how that's possible, basically it just means that the vault is paying funding on perpetual protocol on the perpetual side. So each vault, when it makes a trade, will be making a trade on the spot market like Uniswap and an equivalent trade on perpetual protocol DEX. So depending on market conditions, that trade could actually end up costing some funding payments, but it's usually a temporary matter, and there are some mitigations in place for that to possibly be mitigated if needed. So you don't have to worry about it in a long-term sense. But yeah, just a quick update on what that is.
Yeah.
And it also sort of re-emphasizes the sort of ideal strategy is more of a long-term strategy. Like if you're thinking of just depositing money for a few days or a week, then hot tub may not be really the best option for you. But if you want to put your funds in there and wait, just have it in there for the long term, 3 months, 6 months, that kind of time frame, then it's definitely a great strategy.
Yeah.
Especially in my view for like those assets like Bitcoin, OP, ETH. Prices aren't really that high right now, so you're probably not going to be selling that for a while, and you might as well park it somewhere you can earn some yield. Especially OP. Like I'm really surprised the OP vault's not more full. Personally, I have some OP, and I'm not planning to sell it. It's at a pretty low price right now. I'm definitely keeping that around till the next bull run when I'm expecting Optimism to probably do reasonably well. Of course, that's not financial advice, but it's just my personal view. And yeah, so it's great to have a place where I can park it, earn some yield, and not sell it at the same time.
Yeah,
so
100%. And it's kind of feels like we're it's deja vu here because we had this conversation before a couple of times. It seems like every time we do one of these calls, it's usually right around the FOMC announcement. There's a bunch of price goes basically sideways for a few days, and of course the vaults sort of they don't do a lot of arbitrage because prices just are very stagnant, right? And of course when you're doing arbitrage, you're really looking for wild swings or big price discrepancies to do arbitrage. So it seems like every time we're doing one of our calls here where it's right before FOMC and the markets are kind of really sideways, and the vaults kind of goes either lose their APY high water marks or kind of go down a bit. But then usually after these Wednesday calls, things kind of bump up a bit as prices kind of tend to fluctuate around after FOMC, which is of course this afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, it'd be once again be an interesting phenomenon to watch as the bot should get active if there's wild swings after the announcement, as there usually is.
Yep, definitely keeping an eye on that. And yeah, not financial advice, but you know what to do.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be interesting to see long term, like if the vault performance actually correlates somewhat to FOMC. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I've been watching. Not gonna give too much alpha, but there's something around there.
Nice. All right, so moving on. Actually,
We just kind of talked
yeah,
about
we
it.
sort of discussed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That is correct. So this is sort of a quick rundown of the vault performance. You obviously just saw the actual performance there on the vault page, and there are some places where you can get more information about vault performance, like stable.fish and DeFi Llama, and I guess oh yeah, DeFi Llama, and you have to select the yields tab.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
very
I
interesting.
think one of the more important things, as Lee's kind of mentioned already, is it does you either have a couple options, right? Like number one, deposit for the long term and be a a long term user of the hot tub and take advantage of the arbitrage when it happens, or B, better understand the arbitrage strategy. And we actually have some videos that were released. I think we talked about this later on in the newsletter, but Jamie from our content team recently released some new videos, or a new video around how that strategy works. So if you want a better explainer, I think we'll share some links afterwards.
Yep, we definitely will in just a moment. But before that, we have the next item up on the list, which is Perp DEX Improvement. And this is like a pretty small under the hood improvement that will not affect average users or even power users, to be honest. But basically, it just makes it sort of tweaks the way that liquidations are made, and makes it a little bit more flexible and sort of in line with what users would probably expect to see. Now, of course, we always recommend pretty strongly, especially from my personal perspective, as to keep your leverage, within 2 to 3x at the most, and definitely keep on top of it. If you've got live trades like this, something you've got to be, really keeping an eye on. Make sure your collateral is strong and sufficient to back your positions. That's it. You just never know when things suddenly you got that huge Solana short and pumps. So, there's nothing you can do about that. So this improves the way liquidations happened. If you have questions about it, feel free to come to our Discord. Happy to discuss more.
Yep.
And rolling right along to community partnerships. Just like Houston was hinting at before, we have some explainers and also some Twitter spaces coming up. We've got the optimistic roll-ups panel discussion. I'm assuming that's still actually, no, that's already passed.
Mm-hmm.
But there is another Twitter space coming up. I don't think it's actually announced here. So we do have more coming up, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Oh no, it's okay. It's the second one.
Yeah, right here.
Upcoming Perps DEXes AMAs. I don't know. They missed the S on the AMAs for some reason. But just scroll back up a little bit. Like, definitely don't miss those those explainer videos. It goes. We often get questions about like exactly how the hot tub vaults work and what's going on behind the scenes. So the explainer videos give a pretty basic overview of how it's working, so you can get an idea of like what's actually happening when you put your money in there. And it's always a big advantage to know what's going on.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the confidence too, right? So if you're kind of at a loss on how things work, it's going to be hard to keep your money in to a vault for the long term. If it just appears to be a black box and you just have no understanding, you're not going to have a lot of faith in it. So I think it's just a good educational thing to do, whether you use our vaults or some other projects' vaults. It's just nice to it's good to educate oneself around the strategies being employed, so that yes, you have that confidence that you feel safe parking your money somewhere, versus just again trying to chase APYs, because that's always a losing battle, because you're never going to be fast enough. Not always going to be fast enough, right? So yeah, do some education and position yourself properly. I think it's probably the easiest and probably safest thing to do.
Yeah, it'll also help you just make a strategy for yourself, so that when you put funds in there, you sort of have an idea of like, okay, you have an idea of what you're getting into, and what kind of time frame you can expect.
That's it.
And what kind of performance you could probably expect to see, like, a regular vault you put your money in, if you see a good looking APY or APR, that's sort of like the things that's like the APR up to that point. Like,
Yeah.
For most DeFi vaults, like the more time goes by, the APR starts to get a little bit shaky. You're probably never going to get the APR that's written on the tin.
That's it.
Whereas Hot Tub is sort of pretty unusual in the DeFi space in that the APR you see can vary quite a bit, and it tends to, like, the vaults tend to have sort of a calm period and then a sudden period where they make a bunch of money and then another calm period. So if you understand like how the vault works a little better, you can also tweak your own strategy and decide, make better decisions about how to allocate your funds.
Yeah, well said.
All right, so definitely check those out. And upcoming Perps DEXes AMAs. This is actually a pretty interesting one because there are a bunch of competitors going to be on this call, ourselves and other heavyweights in the industry. So highly recommend checking that out. Unfortunately, I will not be at the call because of the time zone, but our superhero Houston will be on the call.
Yeah,
So
I'll be representing and sharing some ideas. So definitely tune in and get a chance to hear from all the different DEXes, and everyone has a different approach to DEX design, right? So I always find these things interesting as you get a chance to hear just a wide swath of different approaches and perspectives, and yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it's somewhat of a DeFi thing where, like, despite being competitors, people are still pretty civil, pretty friendly, and we're happy to jump on a call and have a panel discussion like that. So when I saw that getting organized, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, and definitely something I'm going to be listening back to once the recording is out.
Yeah, this space is so small still, that I think, it just, we're, as much as people are competitors, we're all in it together. So I think that's probably the shared sentiment.
Yeah, and I'm surprised it doesn't actually show on here, but I'm assuming it's a Twitter space, or maybe I should say an X space, although I don't know what X space is. Sounds a little scary.
Yeah, it does sound a little weird. Yeah, I'm not used
That's
to it.
That's where your retinal scan goes when it enters the orb. X space. Anyway, yes. So definitely look out for that and get your X app open and ready.
Yeah, we'll announce the actual link, obviously on X. I still can't believe say that. So it sounds so weird. And of course on our newsletter. So if you sign up to either one of those two, you'll get a notification around that.
Yes. Yeah, we're all X Twitter users now, which is kind of interesting.
Does that mean formerly Twitter? Or what's an X Twitter?
An X Twitter. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on before that gets even more cringe. Perp Summer Games.
Yeah, I'll talk about this one.
Houston, you wanna?
You bet. Yeah. So we've been doing weekly casual games on Discord for the past, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks now, 3-4 weeks, and this week, this coming usually happens on either Friday evening or Saturday morning. So we've been trying to do different time zones to bring in more people. But yeah, come hang out, play some Discord games. We've played poker. We've played a meme game. We've played some other guessing games. So yeah, come check out this random game. Whatever. I think this week I don't know which we're playing yet, but we'll announce it usually within the day. So come check that out and get a chance to win some perp. Fun games. Hopefully you guys get a chance to join and be part of the community. I also want to say kudos to our host, our game mistress, which is Night Lotus. She's been doing a fantastic job at hosting these things at all hours of the day. So kudos to her. She's been the one leading the initiative and the charge on the game event. And thanks to her, we've been having a lot of fun in Discord throughout the summer.
Yeah, she's truly amazing. So no matter how random it actually gets, you will still have the benefit of hanging out with Night Lotus, who definitely was really cool and always great to hang out with. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Alrighty. So I think that just about wraps up our community call. And sort of plan to end the guessing around 9:45 our time here.
All right.
Is it 9:45 for you too, Houston, in the morning?
I see 9:41 right now, so yeah, we got 4 minutes. You want to end it in a couple of minutes? Should we take some questions first, then end
Yeah,
it?
let's.
Yeah. If we have any.
I don't think there's any questions yet, but definitely, yeah. If you have questions, post them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to answer. Just gonna announce that we're gonna take the SOL price after 45 minutes past the hour.
Okay.
Which is in 3 minutes. Yeah, there's no questions yet as far as I can tell. Oh, hold on. No. Yeah, we have lots of viewers today. Really glad everyone's joining in. Really great to see you all, but not a whole lot of questions in the chat. So definitely let us know if we got any questions. We're more than happy to answer. If not, it's just going to be dead air until then. I'll cruise over to Discord and see if there's anything happening there in terms of people asking stuff.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, I guess all eyes. The prices are not moving that much, so I think it's all eyes are definitely on the FOMC this afternoon. Sol, yeah, it hasn't moved that much, so I'm curious to see who's going to win this this contest. But yeah, FOMC, I think it's 99% that they're going to raise 25 basis points. There's like a 1% chance they might go to 50 basis points. So, yep, I think it's pretty set. If you don't watch a lot of FOMC events, don't start now. But but usually when it gets to like that high level of conviction, then it's usually pretty much baked in that that's going to be the outcome. So you're probably not going to get a lot of fireworks. So when you get the fireworks is when it misses expectations. So yeah, if it goes 50 basis points this afternoon, then it'll be fireworks because it's, everyone's thinking it's going to be 25 basis. But when it's at 99%, it's very, very rare that would not happen.
So does this mean 0 people are expecting like a pause or even a pullback?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, 0% chance. Like, there's not any of those people that they're polling. I think they're gonna pause at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, don't buy any bank stocks. No, it's not financial advice, but definitely don't buy any bank stocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, who knows? Crazy times. All right, we do actually have one question on Discord, which is a pretty interesting one. So I'll take a look at that while we're waiting for the SOL price to drop in 1 minute. So the question is, does Perp have isolated markets like GMX? And what's the advantage of Perp over GMX? And finally, it's quite the question. The final part of it is, why can't Perp offer 150x leverage like others? So that was a great question.
Yeah, good question.
I'll start with 150x leverage. Just in terms of the speed that we're able to do liquidations, 150x leverage really doesn't make sense. And I'm not exactly sure what the technical reasons are that make Perp different from other exchanges in this regard. But I would definitely say that it could be that Perp is like a little bit more of a live exchange where there's actual price finding that's happening directly on Perp, whereas an exchange like GMX is basically Oracle pool, where you're always trading against the Oracle. And I think that probably gives them a bit more of a bit more leeway in terms of being able to perform liquidations in a timely fashion. Yeah, so I can't really answer exactly why that is, but I definitely know for our end that because like prices are being found directly on Perp, the market can move much quicker than liquidation bots really can move. So we need to have that a little bit of a higher buffer. I think it is probably possible to go up to 20x leverage for Perp. But again, we've sort of had discussions with the community in the past, and there doesn't seem to be like a really big appetite for more than 10x leverage. Like we always recommend to be trading in the 2 and 3x leverage zone. So above that, you're sort of out of like pro trader zone and more into like degen type of zone. And I mean, degen has its place, of course, but I guess for now anyway, perp is not really the ideal venue for that. So yeah, does perp have isolated markets? No. Basically, well, yes and no. I mean, the sort of quick answer is no, but because we're using cross margin, but you can use a different account and use one account per asset, and that gives you an isolated margin. So I actually do that personally. Sometimes it's a little bit easier for some applications if you really want to monitor. It's just a lot easier to monitor the leverage and profit if you are just trading with one asset on one account. So I just basically set up a MetaMask, connected a bunch of different wallet addresses, and it's pretty quick and easy to switch between them. So I really don't mind doing that. Obviously, it does provide a little bit more friction than having everything in one wallet, but it's not like a big deal for me. And finally, yeah, what's the advantage of perp over GMX? Okay, so I would say, I mean, I'm not actually super familiar with GMX, but I have been doing a lot of LPing on perp recently, and that's something that you cannot do on GMX. And I also find like the experience as an LP is pretty different from Uniswap, just in terms of the UI and also a little bit in terms of how it works. And I really appreciate that, especially having like a leverage option for leverage like LPing. I think that's a pretty interesting use case for people who are into the LP game. On Uniswap, basically, you can set the position range, but that's about it. Like in terms of capital efficiency, it's just not really as interesting as perp for me. Also, I mean, just like I mentioned, perp, you are like derivatives trading, you're actually finding the price through the trading. So price discovery is actually happening on perp, which is kind of an interesting thing in itself. A lot of people would probably prefer the Oracle price if they're just looking to get a good price, but it doesn't. You're basically not interacting with the market in the same way as when you are on a market where there's actual price discovery happening. So, is that really an advantage? I think there's trade-offs to either model, and yeah, I mean, it really depends on the application that you have. I wouldn't say like there's a definite winner between GMX and perp from my perspective. Like it may be that for your application, GMX is the better choice, and for other applications, perp is a better choice. So it's sort of different tools that are being offered, and really like any tool, it has some advantages for, it's good for some things and not for others. And yeah, you just got to pick the tool that's best for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll just add one more comment, and I think Lee kind of touched on the high points there. But yeah, as Lee mentioned, I think it's really up to the trader, right? So it depends on what type of trader you are and what your requirements are. So like if you're really sensitive around fees, obviously there's different differences between perp and GMX. If you're really sensitive on like the size that you're trading, there's some differences there as well. And if you're really if execution and slippage is very important to you, those are things you need to measure as well. So there's always different things that that vary based upon the type of trader you are, whether you're a short time frame trader or you're kind of person who just just longs once and just holds for a long time. All these things you need to think about. So yeah, the exchanges are right now, there's a lot of different exchanges and they have different characteristics, and it's hard for like Lee or I, pretty much anyone, to say, yeah, this one's better than that one uniformly, right? It really depends on the trader. So yeah, I'm not trying to cop out on the answer, but I think it's it's definitely yeah, as always, the answer is always it depends. It's because it's complicated. So yeah, I wish it was yeah, just I could just say, yeah, this one's better than that one, but it's always, yeah, it's more of a it depends answer.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend trying both. Try both, see which one works best for you. Check out the community in both, and see where you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think DeFi, like, there's so much room to grow and develop that really all of these players will probably be around for the long term, hopefully, and just providing the different types of services for different types of users. And yeah, we're looking forward to the future. So we have got the final answer of our guessing competition, and I
Yes,
noticed that
sir.
Houston posted that in the chat.
Posted
Yes,
it. Yeah.
excellent. So do we have a winner?
Yeah, 24.45 was the final mark price, and we have one person who nailed it. So I'm just double checking to see if anyone else nailed it. Um, but yeah, Mr. or Mrs. 0x Ari Y067 with the exact guess 24.45. So congrats to that individual. If you want to claim your
It's
perp,
Ario, by the way.
Ario, is that what it is? Okay, that's not a zero. Okay, zero Ari YO. Okay, Ario 67. Yeah, please drop into our Mava ticketing system. So you can either go on Discord and set up a ticket, or go to our website and open a ticket with us, and screenshot your winning. Screenshot this your panel here, your post, as well as your YouTube profile, so we know it's you. And yeah, we'll send some perp your way. Congrats. You nailed it on the dot. So I'm always impressed. Somehow, every single time, some people are just like hitting it to the tick. So we got some really good traders in this community of folks who show up on our community call. So yeah, please post more of your trades in our Discord so I can follow along.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you have a Telegram group we can join?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to come Discord and ask how to do that process. But once again, all we need for you to do is open a ticket, screenshot your winning post here, as well as a screenshot of your YouTube profile to make sure it's you, and yeah, we will send you over that perp. Congrats. Yeah, well done.
Yes, I'll just type in the chat to make sure they get the message. Hopefully, they're still around. Cannot type, apparently. All right. Yeah, I'm on my laptop keyboard today, so ooh. You might lose me. My laptop battery is about to die. So yeah, let's call it a night.
Let's call
for a day.
Let's shut it down before Lee disappears on us. All right.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Really great to see everyone, and looking forward to the next one.
Sounds good. See everyone in a couple of weeks. Have a good one until then. Bye, everyone.